Hi, it's Desiree from Quiet Creativity Unboxed, and today I will be making a snowman gift tag using this 6x3 wooden gift tag. I got this from Factory Direct Craft. And the first thing I want to do is to apply our snow to the bottom. I am using apple barrel acrylic paint in the color white, and I'm just trying to give it the illusion of snow mounds or snow hills. I am only going to cover the bottom quarter of the tag because I want that to be the background of the base of the snowman. I did add 2 coats of the paint as well, and once I add that on, the next thing I'm going to do is to add the sky using the apple barrel acrylic paint in the color blue cotton, which is basically just a light blue or baby blue, sky blue. And we're going to cover the remainder of the tag in that color. I also added 2 coats of the blue paint as well, and in between the steps I did use my heat gun to dry the paint for the purpose of saving time in the video. I did not include that, but if you don't have a heat gun, you can let it air dry, or again you can use your heat gun to dry in between the steps. You want full coverage on the entire tag so that the wood does not show through. And once we finish with the tag, we're going to put that aside, and then we're going to start on our snowman. So I'm using these wood half spheres in the diameters of 1 inch, 1 1/4 inch, and 1 1/2 inch. The wood half spheres are from Amazon. The 1 inch came in a mixed bag with some smaller sizes, and the 1 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch both come in individual bags. So we're going to paint those half spheres in the same white acrylic paint from Apple Barrel. I applied 2 coats to these as well, and you just want to make sure you get all the way to the edges of your spheres so that when you assemble your tag that the wood isn't showing at the base. So I did turn those over once I took those off of the tape to make sure that I got full coverage at the bottom as well. And I just want to give a shout out to, I believe it was Chalk It Up Fancy, with this tip of adding the smaller pieces that you're painting to some painter's tape to keep them in place as you paint. That really works well, so that's a good tip. And once we get those painted, what we're going to do next is to assemble our snowman. So again, just like the tag, I added 2 coats of white paint to those half spheres to make sure that the wood does not bleed through, and I used the heat gun to dry that paint. So now we're going to take our snowman and assemble it on the tag, lining it up in the center and centering the base of the snowman on the snow mound. I am using clear Gorilla Glue for a permanent hold, and I'm also using Aleene's quick dry tacky glue for an instant hold. So I'm just adding the Gorilla Glue to the center and the tacky glue to the exterior perimeter so that it can keep the snowman in place until the Gorilla Glue dries. And now I'm going to take a stencil and add some snowflakes to the sky. I did get this stencil on Amazon. It came in a holiday pack with 36 different stencils. It's not adhesive, so you just need to be careful when you're adding it. I'm just placing the snowflakes in some random areas using my sponge dabber. And again, it's not adhesive, so you just need to be careful and offset the paint on your brush or your sponge. Once we have that done, we're going to move on to adding a scarf to our little snowman. And I'm using a red burlap wired ribbon. I'm just going to measure it, cut the scarf down to length for the neck piece. I'm going to fold it in half and hot glue that together, and then I am going to trim it down to size and add it to the snowman using the hot glue again. I'm going to press the scarf into place and make sure it is secure. Then I am going to take another piece of the burlap ribbon. I'm going to tie a knot in the center to make the tails of the scarf, and then I'm just going to trim it down to size, see how it fits onto our snowman, and trim a little additional so that it doesn't hang off of the edge of the tag. I'm going to attach that with some hot glue as well and make sure that is also secure. So remember earlier when I said that the paint would bleed through on the stencil if it's not held in place? I didn't like the way the snowflakes turned out, so I am covering those up with some more paint, and I'm going to use a different method. I'm just adding some Mod Podge to my tag in the areas where I'm going to apply the stencil again. And what this does is when you put the stencil down while the Mod Podge is still wet, it creates an adhesion, so that way the paint does not seep through your stencil. This is a great option when you are using a stencil that does not have the adhesive backing. So again, I'm just randomly placing the snowflakes back onto my tag. You could also use a spray adhesive on the back of your stencils, but for storage purposes, this method works much better for me. But there are no hard set rules, so whichever method works better for you is the method you should use. And as you can see, my snowflakes are a lot more detailed and defined now that the stencil is sticking to the tag and the paint is not bleeding through. And finally, I'm going to attach a hanger using this 3/8 inch gingham ribbon, and that way it can be attached to your gift, or you can even hang it on your tree. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and thanks for stopping by.